As soon as Lisa opened her eyes, she knew something was wrong. She was lying on a cold, hard bed with a thin blanket covering her body. She sat up and looked around, only to find herself in an abandoned prison cell. She tried to stand up and walk, but her legs were weak and her head was spinning. She realized that she had been drugged and couldn't remember how she had ended up there. Lisa tried to scream, but her voice was hoarse and barely audible. She banged on the door, hoping that someone would hear her, but there was no response. Days turned into weeks, and Lisa was still trapped in the cell, with no food or water. She was weak and desperate, with no hope of escape. One night, as she lay shivering in the cold, she heard a strange noise. It sounded like footsteps coming from the hallway outside her cell. Her heart raced with hope as she thought that someone had finally come to rescue her. The footsteps grew louder, and she could hear someone fiddling with the lock. The door creaked open, and she saw a figure standing in the doorway. But to her horror, it was not a rescuer, but a figure dressed in a tattered prison uniform with an empty stare. Lisa tried to run, but her legs wouldn't move. The figure stepped towards her, and she saw that its hands were covered in dried blood. She realized that she was not alone in the prison cell, but trapped with a dangerous and violent prisoner. Lisa was never seen or heard from again, and the prison cell she was trapped in was abandoned and forgotten, just like she was. But some say that on quiet nights, you can still hear her screams echoing through the empty halls of the prison. As for the figure in the tattered prison uniform, some say it still wanders the abandoned halls, waiting for its next victim to trap in the forgotten cell.